Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is CringeyJesse. This is Formula One Manager 23 with the Haas team of Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly here in Azerbaijan this week. This is an exciting video. I'm absolutely astounded by this video. But some quick announcements. Like I said, I believe in the last video I made, I had already done this race. I just needed to edit it and put it up, and as you can see, I have done that. For the next race, I will be doing it live on Twitch before I edit it, chop it up and all that, and put it on the YouTubes. So, if you want to watch these things live, please follow me on Twitch. It's the same name as my YouTube, CringeyJesse. I will also be doing other lives, maybe some Minecraft, some of that new Battlefront 2 Star Wars remake, whatever. Some random games. I go live every now and then. I want to make it more of a priority to do so at night whenever I do whatever game I decide to play. So if you want to come out, hang out, and live, talk, whatever, feel free to come follow me. I can't wait to interact with you guys. Anyway, looking forward, we do have an update on the car for this race. As you can see, the new front wing has come in and we're doing the manufacture. It should be ready before the race, and it is. And as you can see, I actually installed it onto the car before the race. Unlike the underfloor back in Bahrain, this one has made it to the race. However, here in Q1, Gasly coming around with a 142.6, Alonso coming around with a 141.9. I'm really hoping that is fast enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite fast enough for Gasly, as Gasly is stuck in the bottom 5, about to be eliminated as he comes across the line again. No improvement. No improvement. So there's going to be a P18 start in the sprint race for Pierre Gasly. Right now, Alonso P9. He wanted to do it in the lap, so I let him do another lap. No improvement. P9 is looking good, though. If we can get up to Q3 and start in the sprint race in the top 10, that would be fantastic. Q2, Fernando Alonso coming across the line, 1.3 seconds behind the leader Carlos Sainz. However, he is on the hard tires. But on fresh tires, he's starting P15. He's going to come across the line. He has improved all green sectors. Unfortunately, only improves to P12, so the sprint race is going to be a P18, P12 start for the Hasbros. I'm really hoping at least Alonso can get into the top 10 during the sprint race. Also, the sprint race is why this video is a little bit longer than the rest. I did my best to keep it under 15 minutes. But as you can see, I didn't keep it under 15 minutes. Lap 1, 18th, Pierre Gasly. 12th, Fernando Alonso. I'm going to try to just cut it to the highlights parts, like keep this one really short for you guys. Making sure there's no moves before we make our first cut. And as we're going down the back straight, no real moves. P12, P18. However, a couple of laps later, 15 laps to go, Alonso, who started out in P12, has made it in front of Norris, but now he is looking to make it in front of that McLaren of Esteban Ocon before we get down to turn 3, and it looks like he will indeed have P10. So we do have one starting in the top 10, hopefully, as long as everything goes according to plan in the race. Alonso moves up to P6, getting around Stroll, moves up to P5, getting around Hamilton. A double maneuver going into turn 3 on that DRS straight. Here's Gasly, who's moved up from P18 to a P11, now fighting Ocon in the McLaren for P10 side by side as of right now. Can he get in front of him? We're letting him push all out. Can he get in front of him? And it looks like, coming down to the narrow section, it is number 10 of Pierre Gasly getting P10. Both of our cars starting in the top 10. One P5 at the moment, the other one P10. And if everything, like I said, as long as everything stays according to plan, both of my drivers in the top 10. It'll be fantastic. 3 laps to go. Fernando Alonso looking at the back of Sainz. Pierre Gasly looking at the back of Leclerc by 3 seconds. I don't know why I looked at him. Anyway, looking at the back, we've got DRS. I'm letting him push. He's got the ERS open. He's going to get in front of Sainz and Albon. 3 wide into turn 3. I'm not going to lie. This game puts me on edge when they're 3 wide like that, because I can never tell what is actual touch. I've seen cars go through cars and not touch, and then I've seen cars not get close to cars and them touch. You know, I don't. Anyway, up into P3 goes Alonso into the final lap. Verstappen and Perez once again, P1, P2, a 1-2 Red Bull. Alonso holding off Sainz for P3, though. We got one driver starting in the top 3 for this race, and Gasly starting in the top 10, P10. P3 for Alonso, P10 for Gasly, coming out of the sprint, going into the race. This is looking to be a very exciting weekend for the Hasbros.
It's the points finish for Fernando Alonso in the sprint.
Yeah, this was a really clever bit of strategy, and it's great to see that pay off.
Here we go, with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Here we are in the race, Azerbaijan. We got Alonso P3, now P2. He's fighting Perez for P2 early, going into turn 1. Pierre Gasly trying his best to get into P9. Turn 2, P2 for Alonso. Maybe if we can go ahead and push and get him in front of Verstappen, though, maybe we can slow down this pack a little bit, help Gasly move up more before the Red Bulls release their raw power and decide just to take over like they have been all year long so far. I say that like we've done a lot of races. We have not. This is only round 4, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, side by side with Max Verstappen here on lap 1, though, going into the narrow section right before the castle section. Can he complete the move? He has a taste of P1, which would be the first time in this season that it has, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've been past P3, because we had P3 in Bahrain, but we lost it at the end to Carlos Sainz. I do remember that. And now, after being taken out of the Australian Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso comes back with the anger that he has and puts it in his drive to get in front of Max Verstappen. Now, like I said, hopefully he can stay in front of Max Verstappen, slow down the pack, and help Pierre Gasly catch up just a little bit more, catch a little more spots, because at the rate they are going, I can see double points happening for this team in this race. We have a strategy, both of them on mediums. They're going to go to hards and then softs, because I found out in that order there's a good push we can do on the tires, and I've noticed that my guys, they seem to have a better race pace than they do a qualifying pace. As we've noticed, even Pierre Gasly, who gets eliminated in Q1, ends up in the points somehow. So definitely a better race pace than a qualifying pace. End of lap 1, Alonso fastest lap and P1 at the moment, and Gasly up into P9. Really hoping for that double point finish. Moving forward into lap 3, Pierre Gasly getting up into P8. However, in front of Hamilton of the Mercedes. We weren't watching that, as I was a little distracted by the fact that Alonso has a 2.5 second lead by Verstappen. I'm trying to figure out exactly what their plan is here. We do have a 2-stop plan, as you see right there. But if Verstappen and them have a 1-stop plan, this might come back to bite me. But only time will tell. Pierre Gasly now right behind Lance Stroll and George Russell going down into turn 3. Can he make any moves here on this lap? As a matter of fact, he can make a double move, getting up into P6. It's securely up into P6. No fight there whatsoever. But into lap 10, we have Pierre Gasly trying to catch up there with Perez, but behind him coming around this turn, Lance Stroll doing Lance Stroll things, which brings out the VSC. And because the VSC is out, we are going to go ahead and box both of my drivers, because now I'm starting to think everybody else is on a 1-stop, whereas we're on a 2-stop. And with the VSC and everybody driving just a tad bit slower, this is prime opportunity to go ahead and get them to box and get back out there. So after the box, after the VSC, we have Alonso P6 and Gasly P12. So now the goal with Alonso, since he's out there on those fresh, hard tires and still able to push, even though we boxed just a tad bit earlier than we wanted to, is to get him to catch it back up before the other one's box. You can see my strategy there. My hard's probably going to get a little low there near the end of this. So we're going to push as much as we can to try to catch back up before the other one's box, and maybe box around the same time everybody else boxes for their first. Alonso has caught up to no, he didn't. He caught up to Russell. I was about to say Perez. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. He caught up to Russell. It is side by side with George Russell, but it definitely looks like Alonso is going to get that, and Gasly up in front of Norris to get P11 here on lap 14. Definitely want to catch these two up before everybody else boxes. I don't know when they're going to box. I don't know their plans. I don't know their strategies. And I might have my math wrong, but I'm really hoping that I do not. Anyway, it is Pierre Gasly who does securely get P11 away from Norris, though. We move up to lap number 19. We have Gasly catching up to Charles Leclerc of the Ferrari, getting around him there in turn 3. Kind of, sort of, as Leclerc this time. He's definitely going to give a little fight, but Pierre Gasly on the fresher tires, he's going to get that one. He's going to get that one without a doubt. So now, about 4.5 seconds behind Hamilton and the Mercedes. Alonso about 5 seconds behind Perez. Still no idea when these other cars are going to go box. So we're definitely going to keep pushing to get up there. Let's see. We have Alonso. He is under a second. Lap 22, under a second to Perez. Gasly has caught up to George Russell, however, and he's going to get in front of him with that DRS before turn 3 ever happens. And now about a second and a half behind Hamilton. So I didn't see where George Russell was. Obviously, Hamilton got in front of him, and then we were able to catch up. Alonso coming down to the narrow section right before the castle. He is 3/10, if I got that correct. 3/10 behind Perez. Gasly still P8. Both drivers have moved up. Gasly has moved up more than Alonso, but Alonso up into P4 with the DRS on lap 23. On lap 23, Alonso gets P4 away from Perez coming out of turn number 3. Anyway, here comes Gasly. He is right there with Hamilton. He has brought Ocon, Russell, and Norris with him, but up into P7 goes Gasly. He got around Ocon. Again, my math was a little weird there. Carlos Sainz going into the pit lane, which, I mean, Alonso's close enough to get in front of him for the P3. So back on the podium spots. Definitely going for a P4, P5 here. But we got to get up there faster, because if they're starting to box now, they're probably going to catch up and pass us before we can box with Alonso. Right now, the plan is to box on lap 39, but only time will tell. Sainz boxing has brought Alonso up to P3, Pierre Gasly up to P5 here on lap 25. Moving to the end of lap 25, about to start lap 26, Albon, he goes into the pit lanes. That's going to move Alonso up into P2, and now that we can see, we're about 4.5 seconds behind Verstappen. Gasly should move up to P4. I do believe he's close enough to get in front of that Aston Martin, and he is fast enough, or close enough, to get in front of the Aston Martin. So we do have a P2, P4 has team at the moment. 4.5 seconds behind Verstappen, and Gasly about 7.5 seconds behind Perez. Anyway, lap 30, 9 laps before we have to box. We're watching Verstappen to see when he boxes, because he's got to box at some point. It's got to happen soon. and it's happening now. Alonso about 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He's definitely going to get in front of him while he's in the pit lane. So we do have a P1 Alonso, and Perez also going into the pit lanes. That's going to give a P1, P2 to the Hasbros for God knows how long. Carlos Sainz, he's on the faster tire. Carlos Sainz right there behind Pierre Gasly, as there is a 1-2 Hasbro, but now it is a 1-3. It would be nice. It would be nice to see my two guys finish on the podium on this race. But like I said, I'm assuming Alonso's going to get 4 or 5, and then Gasly probably get about 6, 7, maybe. It would be nice to see 4 or 5 from both of them, but we'll see. We did decide to push with Gasly to try to get him in front of Carlos Sainz once again, and as you can see, we have decided to put him on the defense. Why is that, you may ask? There is a gap between Gasly and Alonso from P1 to P2 that's only about 13.5 seconds, and if I can keep Pierre Gasly in front of everybody else behind Alonso and slow them down, my new plan is to keep them behind him far enough to where Alonso can box and still be near the front of the pack. Now, this might mess up the double point system, how here in lap 33, Carlos Sainz with 17.5 second gap between the leader does get in front of Pierre Gasly, and I don't think there's a shot of Pierre Gasly getting back in front of Carlos Sainz, so now we're holding back Albon, Verstappen, and Perez. But if I can keep Alonso to where he boxes and gets out near the front of the pack, maybe, just maybe, on those fresh soft tires that he will be coming out on, he can catch back up, maybe get a podium, maybe get P3. So we'll see. But we're definitely still shooting for that P4, P5 here at this moment for Alonso. Lap 34. Sainz still within a second behind. Gasly still within a second behind Sainz. We thought we was going to get a pass there, but it did not happen. Albon and Perez here on lap 36 have decided that they've had enough of the defense. They're going to go ahead and get around him, but Perez just getting around him in time for Pierre Gasly to get that DRS. He's going to slip into that slipstream behind Perez and try his hardest to stay in front of Verstappen, who is now 20.7 seconds behind the leader, and I don't think that's quite a big enough gap to keep him behind Alonso, but only time will tell. Lap 36, the end of lap 36, going into lap 37, we've decided to box. We're just going to go ahead and box both of them here and now, because I don't think it's really any chance of waiting, as we're actually going to watch this pit stop here from Alonso, because every time I don't watch it, there seems to be a mess up. But we also want to see how far he drops, as Sainz and Albon both go ahead and get in front of Alonso. Perez not able to catch up and get in front of Alonso. However, he is right behind him, so he's probably going to have the DRS coming down this front straight. Now, I don't see a flap open, so I don't think he's got the DRS going down into turn 3. 15 laps to go. Gasly, he also pitted the same lap. He was P4, and he's going to come out P11. Let's see, Alonso behind Albon, almost 4 seconds behind Albon. Gasly coming out, almost 5.5 seconds behind Charles Leclerc in P10. There's still 15 laps to go. We have fresh, soft tires out there. We're going to do our best to catch up and get back in front of some of these people. Albon has decided to take the lead. That was very nice, but we were not watching Alonso when this happened. Alonso did get in front of Sainz for P2. However, he feels like the overtake was failed against Albon. So now there's a little bit of a scruffle between Alonso and Sainz for P2 as they're coming up to the narrow section of the castle. And I don't know if I've said this yet or not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the castle section, while fighting side by side with another car, scares me. It could end a race. However, it didn't end a race where your P2 still coming down to the long front straight with that DRS down into turn 1, going into lap 41. Wow. 41. 11 laps to go, and Alonso has P1 coming out of turn 1, going into turn 2. However, Albon is going to be the one with the DRS. Is Albon fast enough to get back in front of Alonso, or will Alonso be able to hold on to P1 through turn 3? Yes. Yes, he will be able to hold on to P1. So now, with these fresh softs that we have on, I need to get as far ahead as possible. We do have the freshest tires on the grid. We do. We don't have the fastest car, but we have the freshest tires. So I'm really hoping we can do something with that. Here we watch Pierre Gasly. 10 laps to go. Number 10. 10 laps to go. Fighting for P10, coming around turn 2. Who has the DRS? It's not Pierre Gasly, so I'm going to assume, and I was correct, it is Ocon going into turn number 3, as Ocon will securely take away P10 from Gasly. Not that Gasly ever truly had it, but on lap 43, it will be Pierre Gasly coming down out of turn 2 with the DRS this time into turn 3. He is going to take P10. He said he wanted it, and he went out there and got it. We're back in the double points. And as you see over there to the side, Alonso now with a 2.5 second gap on Albon. The whole pushing on these tires that we are able to do has really come in handy. And honestly, I think the strategy came in handy. I think the 2-stop was the way to go here. The race pace that my guys seem to have during races is also immaculate. As Charles Leclerc, he gets passed over here by Pierre Gasly for P9. I can't do math like that, so I'm just going to say lap 44. I can't tell you how many more laps that is. Anyway, Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, they're still fighting though. It's a little bit of side by side, but I think he securely has it now as he slips into that slipstream from Norris to P8. But Leclerc is still telling him, hey, I'm right here. I didn't go nowhere. Pierre Gasly says, I know. I'm trying to shut the door. As I do believe now. With half a second behind Norris, he will have the DRS, so there will be no advantage from Leclerc. I do believe now that Pierre Gasly has shut the door on Charles Leclerc and is now trying to push that door open from Lando Norris. Going into turn 1, he's going to get very close. He's going to smell the dirty air coming out from behind Lando Norris. Into turn 2, he's going to have the DRS once again. Will he be able to get around Lando Norris, as he is going to try to go up the inside? Looks like they're side by side. And as the camera cuts back, it's Pierre Gasly securely up into P8. About 7 seconds behind George Russell with about 7 laps to go. 6? Not 6. It's not 5. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're going to skip to the final lap because no other changes have been made to my drivers. We're watching Alonso come down the front straight. He's so close to Mick Schumacher, but not enough time to lap him, as it will be Fernando Alonso getting P1 here in Baku. First podium for this season for the Hasbros, and I do believe the first win. First place. First P1 for the Hasbros. Verstappen, if you've been paying attention to the side, has decided he wants to get P2. Albon getting P3. Perez P4. Carlos Sainz P5. Hamilton P6. George Russell P7. And Pierre Gasly getting P8. It is a double point finish. And if I'm not mistaken, it did say Alonso had the fastest lap there near the end. Lando Norris getting P9. And Charles Leclerc getting P10. That is your top 10 with Has. I'm excited. Honestly, this is why I'm going to start doing the live streams, because the emotions that went through my body as I saw this race and that I picked an actual good strategy to win this race, it's worthy. It's worthy of a live stream. So hopefully we can do this again on a live. Hopefully, because I think it's 7 that we need to do in a season. This is just the first of many.
Now, didn't Fernando Alonso look really great out there today?
It was a truly excellent win, with everything working together for the team and driver.
Well, they've been waiting for this, haven't they? And it's only right that they make the most of it. And that man up there is certainly no stranger to an F1 podium. Always great to see Fernando in the top three.
Their first win of the season, and the team looking on will be very proud, I'm sure.
And before they get back to work, I think it's time to cool off here in Azerbaijan. Now, Karun, I'd be really keen to know, how do you think the Haas team will be reflecting on today's results?
They'll be absolutely delighted to have picked up the win here. What a great outcome that is for the team.
And that, my friends, is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in 2025. Fernando Alonso moving up 2 spots to finish out in P1, getting the fastest lap. So instead of 25 points, he will get 26 points. Max Verstappen falling down 1 spot to P2. Alexander Albon moving up 2 spots for P3. And then we have Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc. That is your top 10. That is your top 10. The biggest move, Lando Norris moving up 3 spots to get into the top 10 to finish with points in this race. And now we move on to the driver's standings, where we have Max Verstappen still holding on to P1 with 94 points. He got 26 this weekend. It's including the sprint race. Sergio Perez in second place with 81 points, only getting 19 points. Fernando Alonso moving up 5 spots this week into the top 3 with 46 points. 32 for the weekend. He is the race weekend winner. Carlos Sainz in P4, Lewis Hamilton P5, George Russell P6, Alexander Albon P7. We have Charles Leclerc in P8, Lance Stroll in P9, and Esteban Ocon in P10. That is your top 10 here in the drivers' standings. However, we're going to look at Pierre Gasly real quick, as he is in P11. He does move up 1 spot, getting 4 points this weekend. As we look at our constructor standings, because it was impatient and decided to cut us off there, we have Red Bull in the number 1 spot with 175 points, with an extra 45 points this weekend. Mercedes in the 2 spot with 80 points, with an extra 25 points this weekend. Ferrari only getting 8 points this weekend, but they are going to hold on to that number 3 spot with 55 points. Haas moving up 1 spot back into P4 with 54 points, getting 36 points this weekend. Aston Martin moving down 1 spot, 53 points. So we are right there in between Ferrari and Aston Martin, 53, 54, 55. Then we have McLaren with 17 points, Williams with 6 points, Alfa Romeo with 8 points, and unfortunately I did not take a screenshot of anything below, but I do believe that it is Alpine and then AlphaTauri. I do believe. We will find out in the next video, because now I'm starting to think this is where races are going to start to count towards points, when both driver standings and constructor standings, and this is where the fights start, because I already had to make changes in the engine for this race, which probably definitely helped us out. So I'm going to assume that other cars are doing the same thing. And that, my friends, is the Azerbaijan weekend. We do have Miami coming up next. And like I have said in the last video, earlier this video, Miami will be live streamed. If you want to know exactly when it will be live streamed, follow my Twitch, CringeyJesse. Turn on the notifications. It will notify you that I went live. I just don't know if it'll notify you with what video I'm going live with. But I do believe 100% on everything I own that my next live stream will be the United States Miami Grand Prix. If it's not done, what's today? Thursday? Friday? I guess it could be done tomorrow. If it's not done on Friday, it will be done on Saturday night. Anyway. So look forward to that. If you want to watch me do this live, please come in. I would love to interact with you guys. Anyway, like I said, United States is coming up in 4 days. After this race, in 6 days, as you can see it right here, the ATR, that's what they call it. The ATR ends in 2 days, which means I'm sorry, in 6 days, which means in 7 days, ATR period 3 will begin. So I'm thinking before the next race, we will be able to start after the United States, before the next race, we will be able to start our rear wing design. And then after that, we're going to research, obviously. So hopefully after the rear wing design, we will have a better car, even faster car. If we can get a podium with a new underfloor and a new front wing, imagine what we can do with a rear wing. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you can't wait for the next video, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I think I'm at like 236 followers. I would like to hit 500 before the end of the year. With F1manager23 coming out, there will be newer content coming with that game as well. F124 coming out as well. There will be F124 content coming whenever the game comes out, and I get it, which hopefully I will be able to get it as soon as it comes out. Anyway, like I said, thank you for watching. Have a great night, and be safe out there.